Alright, you guys, what's going on? It's your boy 3 Stickity, and you already know, bro, I'm coming at y'all with that goo. These are my baby girls right here. Bro, like, I've been waiting so long for this support to come out. Like, dude, this deck is actually kind of crazy. I think that this is just one of those low-to-the-ground decks that are not going to shine right away immediately, and it might be overlooked by a lot of people. But this deck has nothing but untapped potential, and it has the perfect formula for a tier 2 deck, in my opinion, that can make tier 1 boards going interrupted once or twice. But I think where the deck really is going to shine is that it is completely insulated against Droll. Its boards are pretty much immune to all the charmies. Like, you can make your best, like your actual best board giving only 2 draws or 3 draws under, well, charmies in the perfect circumstances. Like, if you full combo, you'll give 3 draws max under Fua, and that's the best charmy against this deck. So the deck is just completely immune to all the turn skip hand traps. Lancia does kind of take precedent and now like kind of has a home in non-engine slots post-siding against this deck. And what that means is like your 1-card combos that go into ladies can be interrupted by Lancia. But also the fact that your normal 1-card combos are always going to be able to pivot into like a Seals line or just a hard made Shao just means that the deck has enough fluidity to that even though with the introduction of Ladies Dragon Maid that the deck actually was already so diverse in how it could interact and create its boards that it gaining a new weakness doesn't take away from the strength the deck initially had, which is just how versatile the Dragon Maid cards are and how you can just use your bodies to convert into a ton of different things. So I do think Ladies Dragon Maid is a crazy card, and the new Merchab is actually pretty insane too. Like, it's a tried and true extender that's actually a name, and it makes hard opening chamber one of the biggest punishes. This deck has a lot of punishes now, and you can hand trap this deck absolutely correctly and still like lose. I think that your normal summons require so much attention because of Ladies Dragon Maid now that they become like infinitely better into hand traps. That like there's no way that your opponent can afford to hold your hand trap to hit something else, and so that makes extenders really, really powerful in this deck. And I'll explain that when we get further into it. But yeah, I built this deck to pretty much just beat hand traps and to be able to trade really, really well while I'm playing like the max like turn skip non-engine that I could play, because the name of the game with Dragon Maids is always just to simplify the game state and just grind with your Dragon Maid cards. And this deck can easily get +4s and 5s every single turn. You get a pit stop on your standby, a pit stop on your opponent's battle phase, and a pit stop on your opponent's standby, and a pit stop on your battle phase. And with Philia as a new introduction, you get another way to recover resources and apply pressure. So this deck is just really, really hard to OTK. And once you like get to go through your main line of your Dragon Maid cards, like you are just so, it's like an insurance policy. Like you are so in there, bro. It is really, you have to OTK this deck, but the problem is like, you have to go to the battle phase in order to do that, and like that's where this deck, like pure Dragon Maids, really shines. Is that it really just dominates the battle phase and is able to like break boards with House while just regaining a ton of advantage and using it to take resources from your opponent. So I think this deck's absolutely phenomenal, and I'm going to show you guys my list and use this formula so that you can have a higher success rate with Dragon Maids. So with the new support now, and before we go any further, sorry, I should just preface, don't forget to like my video, run me my comments, and subscribe to my channel. It's easy, it's free, do it while you're thinking about it, bro. So the new best starter of the deck is actually going to be Kitchen Dragon Maid. And we're going to pair that with her Dragon form. We're going to talk a little bit more about it later as we progress through the video. And then we also have Parlor and her Dragon form. And the actual worst 1-card starter, it was originally probably the best one before the new support, is Chamber. And I'm proxying 2 of her Dragon Maid form because I opened 3 boxes and only got 1 of her Dragon form, which is absolutely just atrocious. I'm going to stop here. I'm just going to leave the starters out. 1 Prosperity and 1 Sengen Kaiman. These are all the starters that the deck has. Everything past that is going to be like 2-card combos that just like get you to like Seals. This deck can play Romulus, but I'm playing more of a mid-range build. I really just want to play like the resource grind game. The kind of format that we're in right now, like combo's not going to blow anyone out, and there's so much non-engine running around that like games actually do typically go past turn 3, and no one's just going to be able to like full combo kill you in a turn. It's just really hard to do right now. So that's why I built this deck, because of the environment, the competitive environment that we're in right now. The kind of like playstyle like this can really thrive. Like Mitsu Raziel is kind of in essence a combo deck, but always will be piloted to a mid-range standpoint because you have to play around the non-engine you lose to, and that means inherently that you are going to make weaker boards. And if you get Fuad or you get Drolled or you get Peruliad, you're going to make weaker boards. The same thing for Malice. And so because of how the format is, like, people aren't going Echo Talker a ton of negates, people are going Bomber Pass. Mitsu Raziel is passing with, like, hopefully maybe a Prayers, maybe an Ame setup, but most of the time it is going to be the Raziel cards that they're going to crunch on when they're not able to play through hand traps. Like, for example, Ashing on the Fuka is, like, crazy, right? And so this deck, I think, is one of the perfect decks to play in a mid-range format. Like, if this was combo and everybody was on board breakers, this deck would look completely different. But yeah, in the terms of starters, Kitchen is the best starter. The reason why Kitchen is the best starter is, as well as Parlor, is because they're the cleanest into Nib. I'm going to talk a little bit about why Chamber is worse into Nib specifically because of how you have to do it. But essentially, Kitchen is the best Dragon Maid to start with. That's another reason why it's really good to play Sengen Kaiman to give you like 4 copies of her. I even thought about Gold Sarka and a couple Dragon Rollers, but it's just crunching too much on engine. So you want Parlor and Chamber to be in your deck because that's what gives you fluidity and pivot lines and options and things of that nature. Because your Seal will get nibbed, you'll be able to summon something out and be able to extend past that. In addition to that, having these cards to summon off ladies changes the trajectory of how you can play. Because if you get Fuad early, then you will be using ladies to summon Chamber and grab like a Tidying, and you might not make the Seal and give them the extra draw. But if you're playing through Nib or playing around Nib plus like an Impermanence, then you're going to summon Parlor and dump Tidying, so the entire combo line you go through, even if they Imperm your Shao and then Nib you, you can just Tidying back like your Shao, for example, and then on your standby just recruit the ladies, and the ladies will tutor out a nurse, and then the nurse will tutor out another card, and then the ladies will make like a house or affiliates, and like this deck can like full combo through Nib easily and make the same board minus just a Seals basically, just by keeping Parlor in your deck and just playing your cards correctly. So that's why like Kitchen's the best one. Chamber's the worst starter because you essentially have to normal Chamber, grab a Hospitality, and you have to link her off in a Striker, which is summon 2, bring her back off Hospitality, which is summon 3, dump her Dragon Form, make ladies on summon 4, which means whatever comes off of ladies, that's summon 5, you can now be nibbed before you even make Seals. Is it the end of the world? No, because what you do in the Chamber line, just because you have to play your card smart, is you summon Parlor off of the ladies and you dump Tidying. Your opponent, if they're smart, they might not actually like nib you preemptively, but if they do, then they just nib you, and then you can just Tidying back your ladies and then use your ladies to make a Shao on your opponent's standby and use Shao to gather more resources. So it's not that Chamber is going to lose to Nib, it's that she's the worst into Nib, but you are always going to play through Nib. This deck will always play through Nib, and that's another strength. So I really just want to preface it like this deck is not weak in Afua. It doesn't really struggle with like Meows. It'll give like 1 draw to Meows. It's not really going to be summoning from hand like hardly ever, like except your normal summon and maybe 1 extender, the one that I choose to play. And it's really strong under Droll, and it's really strong playing into Nib. So like lower impact hand traps, like weird ones like DD Crows, for example, like DD Crows and like Ghost Bells and Ash Blossom and Effect Veilers and Ghost Ogres feel like they're actually better hand traps, but that's not the format we're in, and that's why I think, again, Dragon Maids are going to thrive in a format like this because of how the climate kind of is for like the environment we're in, and also the non-engine choices. If people allocate it for different slots, then maybe this deck wouldn't be as good as it is, but it actually is crazy right now. So that's all the starters. And that's why Kitchen is like literally the best starter, because she just gives you the most fluidity. And it is pretty ironic that she used to not be a starter at all, and she was like cut in every Dragon Maid list and no one played her because she did suck. She pretty much always needed an extra card to play with, but now she's the best to start with. And then we have the 1 nurse and also her Dragon Form, which acts as an extender. Ernest and also Chamber's Dragon Form, they are extenders, so you do have in-archetype searchable extenders now, which is really clean with it. And then next up, we're going to talk about the extenders. Every Dragon Maid deck profile is always going to do that. It's going to show you the starters and then the extenders. Like, so this is already, because I'm proxying, so I'll show you my 3. I call her Merchant, but it's Churnba. I made a custom card of like Chamber Dragon Maid a while ago, and I called her Merchant. So like that's already 4 extenders. This is for the worst one. That's from hand. But Churnba is from Graveyard and also from Banish Zone, which is another thing that kind of makes Chamber a little less punishing, because she is the only card that would play into a Bestial. So if you normal Chamber and then it gets hand trapped by like an Impermanent Ash and you make Striker Dragon and you activate Chamber if they don't actually know what this card does, they'll bestial your chamber and you'll just revive her. Because this card actually doesn't target. It just summons from graveyard or banish zone. So they'll bestial your chamber and you'll just get her back anyways. And they just use their bestial for no reason. So it makes bestials pretty much completely useless because that's the only good time to bestial this deck ever is when you're trying to revive chamber. And this card just like literally plays through it. So these are crazy extenders. I'm not gonna lie. This deck is actually really nice, bro. It's a really clean deck. We have 3 Hospitality. This card is ashable and bellable, so just keep in mind that stuff can happen to you. But what this card does is it literally guarantees a full combo on any of your normal summons. So this is probably the biggest punish ever, and this is why if people don't know how to play against this deck correctly, they will be punished. Like, for example, if I normal summon a Parlor or Kitchen and they ash me, or like I normal Chamber and they ash me, if I have Hospitality, now they're getting punished because in the past tense, like, them holding Imperm would have been fine, but with the new support, I can go Hospitality, bring back my Chamber, dump her Dragon form, make ladies, right? They're going to Imperm ladies or Asher, it doesn't matter, but what's going to happen is she's going to activate her effective fusion summon on their standby. And so I think one of the big strengths about this deck is the fact that you can make ladies through like infinite disruptions, and her effect is just going to bring out a Shao anyways, and Shao's going to give you follow-up, and you're going to be able to machine gun their board and have an Omni negate. So I think that Hospitality is one of the crazier extenders, as well as Churnba, specifically pairing with like Chamber. So like Chamber Churnba is like a crazy 2-card combo. Any normal summon plus like a Hospitality is like ridiculously good because it's gonna auto beat 3 hand traps. It's like they have to have like an Ash and double Imperm now because they have to Imperm Lady's effect to summon from deck, and now they have to Imperm her on their standby phase to try and fuse. So 2 cards is gonna beat 3. It's very reminiscent of like a 2-card combo with Malice or a 2-card combo with Ryziel, where like you just can't hand trap a 2-card combo with 2 cards and it's just enough. But continuing with the extenders, I also play something that could be more non-engine slots, but I just identify what I lose to and play around it, so I built my deck to beat what I lose to. I don't feel like Dragon Maid struggles that much playing into boards or breaking boards when you like build with the correct ratio of extenders. But if you play a ton of hand traps and don't build with the correct ratio of extenders, Dragon Maids will always struggle playing into boards. And so when you hand trap someone, they end on a half board, you're never breaking the half board if you don't have extenders. So I think it's very important to have a healthy amount of extenders, but I also like that they can also be used to break boards. Like, for example, the Dark End Evap, like this card's actually nuts. So what this card does going second is like this card just forces interaction. Like you immediately just pop a face-up monster, like, and then you could just like link off into a Seals. So like you can literally go evap, effect, try and like bait an interaction. It can get impermed, right? You can normal chamber, effect, it'll get impermed, and you can like make a Seals worst case. But when you're going first, this card's actually crazier sometimes going first because your opponent has to respond to this card because it can make an Omni negate. So if I like normal summon a Parlor, any Dragon Maid, and it gets like Ashed or Veiled or Impermed or whatever, and I inherently summon this card, which actually is crazy because it beats Caesar. This card by itself out Caesar. Like if you are playing like a Fiendsmith deck and you just make Caesar with Paradise in your grave, like this card by itself just cooks that whole that whole package just gets cooked by just like one inherent pop. This inherent summon pop, and it's still a body that you can convert. But going first, you can use this card to attempt to fusion summon and make a Shao, and they have to negate it because Shao's an Omni negate. So you could go normal chamber, get Impermed, inherently summon this, get Veiled or another Impermed, like, and then you could still just make Seals. So that's like, again, like, the way I built this deck is like all my extenders are gonna make like my 2-card combos play through 2 hand traps every single time. Even with Dragon Shrine, which could just be 1 Shrine, 1 Foolish, but Dragon Shrine has like cooler art, and let's be real, we're not drawing 2 1-ups. It's the same kind of thing, because if I normal summon a Kitchen and it gets Impermed, or a Parlor, because Parlor and Chamber are more likely to get hand trapped. Kitchen might not. They might hold a hand trap for when Ladies comes out, if they understand how the deck works, but nobody plays Dragon Maid, let's be real, they're going to hand trap me incorrectly every time. But if I just Shrine after Parlor got negated, because Parlor will be negated more as well as Chamber, because they have the option to add Changeover into the mix, which makes Shao, which means their hand trap gets wasted, so that you use it or lose it, basically. So that's where Shrine's even more powerful, but it basically does the same thing. It guarantees that you make a Lady, and if she gets hand trapped, she'll just fusion summon on their standby and take another card from them. So that's all the extenders, but they're all pretty high quality, and they shine in different situations. So that's one of the main reasons why like I play so many extenders. And then these are the engine requirements, and this is like the true brick of the deck is Grand Tusk. I still play 1 Changeover. You have a ton of ways to fusion without the fusion spell now. It's a lot easier. 2 Tidying, because it's correct to have 1 to actually like play part of your inboards, and 1 to be able to like pivot and have like different directions that you need to go based on the interruptions your opponent throws at you. Grand Tusk just makes Sills and FTK, because like this deck's worst case, I get hand trapped 3-4 times. I get like every turn skip thrown at me. Seals into Grand Tusk with follow-up is just gonna win all the games for me, bro. It's just crazy. As far as hand traps, I'm playing pretty much standard lineup. So originally Ash was gonna be Perulia, because I wanted to play like Fua, Perulia, Droll, like all the turn skip hand traps. But I thought more and more just like being able to have Ash as a defensive card to hit cards like Thrusts and Talents, and to be able to hit other Molcharmies in different situations, and just how versatile the card is. I just feel like it's weird for me to play a deck list without Ash. And that's where I came to the similar problem with like Imperm could have been Perulia. But like this deck is a deck that needs bodies. So like it sucks to just not have any main deck outs to Detonator. Because like, let's just be real. You can summon Dark End Evap, and then Detonator will just protect itself with its own effect. So like this card can, Dark End can out Caesar, but it can't out Detonator, which sucks. So in my opinion, because I'm playing a deck that needs bodies to play, like I feel like Impermanence is just too powerful of a card to not play. If we weren't in the format we were in, this could easily be like a Perulia. And then we have Mag, because it just converts into actual engine, and it's still a hand trap. And then we have the extra deck. I have a couple proxies. I'm proxying my second Ladies. But Ladies is a absolutely phenomenal card. This card is absolutely broken. This makes your crackback terrifying. This card must properly be summoned through the way that it states, but it's a must first be special summon clause. So that means once you summon it the way it's supposed to be, you can bring it back. So this means like Hospitality brings this card back. Like this means like tidying into a Ladies on your opponent's like standby phase is nuts, because you're going to be able to trigger Ladies to summon from deck, and then trigger Ladies to fusion summon, which is just broken. Like the card's just absolutely insane. Like you can clean so many fields up just on the crackback of just like using your Dragon Maid cards and then going straight to battle phase and popping every card you see with just House. Like you play under Nib so efficiently, and this card's basically like your access code, which is pretty much like, in my opinion, in the terms of like offensive pressure, House is like the best Dragon Maid, like period. We play 3 of her because we are playing Pure. We're going to be actually going through her a lot. And if you run out of her in your extra deck, you're no longer able to like utilize Shao. And I do sometimes do Shao house boards because like I want to be more like reactive with my cards as opposed to proactive, and like waiting to summon out the house. Because bringing out house early means that you can hold your Omni Negate for like the blowout, the talents, like the Mitsu ritual spell. And using cards like Tidying, Sills, and House to just clear the bodies, and then using the Omni Negate for the punish is like how I like to play. So I just play 3. This card is a Dragon Maid. It's actually broken. It's just going to be able to just banish a card from the field or grave every single turn, and your opponent thinks they're going to OTK you, and then you just bring this back out, and it's just everything snowballs. It's crazy. I don't actually make this card. I just use it to summon Darkened. I really don't think that Furious is really ever worth it for me, because anytime I can make Furious, which means I need 2 darks, I have the resources to make Philia, and Philia is just a broken card, just better. So this is literally just played as a Darkened target. And then we play double Sills, because every combo that gets you to Sills, you can make another one if they nib you. And believe me when I say, as counterintuitive as it seems to nib a Sills, people do it because they don't want to play into Sills. Especially when it's post-sighting and they have information that I'm on Grand Tusk, they're going to nib my Sills because they know Sills means a bounce pop too. It's crazy. And then we have Striker as well as Pisty. I don't play the Blue Eyes Link one. I just, like, it's not necessary. Like, I'm not playing any bricks. Like, I could play bricks so that my normal summons are +1s that might be disrupted. But I didn't want to, like, I just wasn't here for the mind games. We have SP and Typhon. This is a mid-range deck, so both these cards are phenomenal. Striker is pretty much your only way to easily bridge into SP, and that's how you force interaction going second. It's pretty easy. This deck is actually very clean. I definitely recommend you try Dragon Maids. It's a pretty broken deck. In the right hands, I think this deck is just really, really competitive. We are 19 minutes in, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you guys a pretty basic combo line. These combos are very efficient and very easy to do, and that's just what Dragon Maids is about, in my opinion. It's just a mid-range deck that's all about, like, efficiency. Just clean 1- and 2-card combos that are just very straight to the point, that play through enough interruptions to survive in a competitive format. And the boards are actually crazy. Like, Omni Negates and a ton of spot removals, that's pretty much like what, like, post-new support Malice was doing, and that's pretty much what Mitsu Raizio is doing now. Board wipes and Omni Negates. It's just what you need to survive in this format. And this deck literally has board wipes and Omni Negates, and it accesses them easy. So, here's Kitchen. Kitchen is very simple. The other reason why you see me playing all the dragon forms is like, yeah, it's cool. They do look awesome. I love these cards. But you need them so that you can always bridge into ladies in the worst case scenarios. The worst case scenarios. If you don't play the dragon forms, you will have hands that won't be able to actually like efficiently play through interruptions. So they're like weird bricks if you think of them that way. But as long as you're able to play correctly, these cards will actually benefit you a lot more than they hurt you. And they have a lot of utility. The toolbox that they offer is crazy. Earnest and Churba are extenders. Lorpar is a spell speed 1 imperm that beats Detonator. So guess what? The other cool thing that I forgot to mention, but it's hard to do when you're playing through hand traps and Detonator, is that your engine auto beats Detonator. So like if I normal a Kitchen, for example, right? And I add Lorpar and then discard another card. They can pop her or whatever, it's fine. I can activate Lorpar and turn Detonator off. So this is a searchable in archetype out to just every board, and you add it to your hand at every single battle phase. Your battle phase and your opponent's battle phase. So it's really cool how much ammunition that you get in your follow-up to just pressure boards. 10k gives a 2k boost. That means like that your freaking Dragon Maids are beating over everything, dude. You're summoning 5,500 beat sticks. You're beating over everything, even in access code made with 3. So yeah, Lorpar is a crazy resource that you could just add in your grind game. So your crackback is like popping cards, negating cards, blowing stuff up, and just making huge monsters. But yeah, I really love this deck, guys. Like, Dragon Maid's crazy. So the combo is Kitchen and Tinkek, discard it. And then you're gonna banish both of these to contact fuse with Lady. And again, the combos are efficient. You're never really going into time with this deck because the combos are just really... This is like very beginner friendly. You're gonna go Ladies. Ladies effect is gonna go ahead and summon out a copy of Chamber, specifically, to raise your ceiling the highest, and also to just have like the best installation. Keep in mind this is summon number 2, and then this is summon number 3. Chamber is going to go ahead and add yourself a copy of, depending on how frisky you're feeling, you can add Tidying into the mix, and then Ladies summon Shao, and like you can do plays like that. But what I like to do to get the like highest ceiling and the max efficiency is I actually opt for the Hospitality specifically. So keep in mind this is summon 2, this is summon 3. And so what's going to happen is you're going to make summon 4 be your seals. And then you're going to make summon 5 be your ladies right here. And if they nib you, it's absolutely completely totally fine. Because what happens when they nib you is you're just going to use seals to summon out a copy of Parlor. And then Parlor's going to dump Tidying. And then Tidying can just bring back the ladies anyways. And it's just totally fine. It's just crazy. Like... Every combo that can make seals before your 5th summon has like the most fluidity, but even your worst combos that can't make seals before your 5th summon, you'll never lose to nib with any combination with this deck. This deck is completely nib proof. So like if you don't think that the deck is good for the reason being that its inboard's not good enough, which is such a weird argument because its inboards are crazy, consider how powerful the deck is because of how it pairs up across all the non-engine in the format, and also how it really doesn't have like any bad matchup. Like the controlled aspect of this deck is just like using its extenders and resources to convert into different things. And so the finite aspect of that is like every deck needs a certain amount of bodies to play. So every deck in this format kind of shares the same weakness. So it's like a counterintuitive argument to make to say Dragon Maid needs bodies to play, so therefore it's a bad deck. You need 2 level 4s to play with Raziel, and if you're playing Malice, you need to be able to make a link 3. So it shares the same weakness that every pretty much deck plays right now. Like, they all need bodies to play. So outside of that simple weakness, there's no underlying factors about the quality of Dragon Maid cards that says these cards aren't good enough to survive in this format. People can argue that the ceiling's not high enough, but that's debatable because it's predicated to the deck building ratios. Because the composition of my deck is built to play through interruptions. My ceiling's higher than the Dragon Maid decks you're going to see on YouTube because they're not really playing like the good like non-engine extenders and etc. So like that's your main combo with Kitchen, and then I'll just show you how Parlor is pretty much the exact same thing, except when you're playing into Nib, it's a little bit different. And that's again why Kitchen is the best one, because like playing into Nib means that Syl summons Parlor out and Parlor does what you need it to do. But I'll show you guys Parlor to just Foolish Burial her dragon form. And this deck never had 1-card combos with Dragon Maid cards ever before, so it's really, really nice that we have those now. Well, we did. We actually did. I'm lying. Like, we had 1-card Seals. Those were not combos, though. They were just, like, Seals pass. So, Parlor and Chamber are always a 1-card Seal, so I'm not going to take that away. But these are, like, combos that let you go through your main line of Dragon Maid cards. So, you're going to go Ladies. This is summon number 2. And so it just depends on what you're playing around to beat, and that's what I love about this deck, is because when you summon Chamber, you do have the option to add either Hospitality or Tidying, and also a really cool line that not everybody's going to use is adding Changeover. The reason why you can add Changeover and it's okay is because you can fuse these off and make Dragon Maid Shao, and then on your opponent's standby, you can use Dragon Maid Shao to bring back the properly summoned lady and use ladies, and then she can go ahead and bust out a copy of Nurse, right? And then Nurse can tutor out Chamber, and Chamber adds Hospitality for follow-up, and you still get to fusion summon off ladies, and you're just not getting OTK'd. It's a very, very powerful deck. It really has enough fluidity to pretty much just thrive under like all these pressuring scenarios. So if we have ladies, that's the main reason, again, why like it's worse to start Chamber, because this is the most fluidity you're ever gonna get, is the options that Chamber gives you. You can add the same thing that Kitchen did, adding Hospitality. You can add Tidying instead, and you can hold the ladies and go into a Shao, and you have like a Shao house interaction. You can also just make Seals. Seals Tidying is crazy. Seals Tidying is very crazy, and it's the board that's not going to really lose to like talents or anything of that nature, because Seals just tributes for cost. And it still tutors out a dragon that you could bounce. So like, you can literally Seal summon Magnamut, and then trigger Magnamut, and then Tidying back the Magnamut, and then Bestial them. So there's just a ton of things that you can do with these combos. And so like, the fact that Chamber can add any of these 3 cards means the combo changes based on what you're playing around and what you're trying to beat, and how you want your inboard to interact with the non-engine. If you're afraid of like tactics or board breakers, you're always going to want to opt for like a Tidying line or going into a Shao preemptively, so that Shao can get you all the follow-up you need. So these cards are just crazy, bro. And that's pretty much how every 1-card combo looks like. Is just making ladies and then fishing for your options off what you summon off of her. But what's really cool is, because some people are just really smart, they're not actually going to hand trap your little body sometimes. Like, not everybody understands how this deck works, and you can normal Parlor and she won't get hand trapped because they're holding their hand trap for ladies. What that means is that Parlor can now like preemptively make a Shao, and you can use an extender to make ladies, and now they get punished for holding their hand trap. What that also means is that this deck ceiling is just naturally higher, and it just plays through a lot. So that's all I really have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned from it. If you don't walk away with nothing else, you guys need to know that Dragon Maids is a real deal, bro. Like, this deck is serious, bro. It's like, these girls are really about that business, bro. They get paid good to do what they gotta do, bro. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock in. Peace out, man. I hope you had a good time. Deuces.